Before I tell you where I am, before I get into today's episode, gotta send a shout out to our sponsor, which is the only sponsor right now, patreon.com/valet. If you sign up on patreon.com/valet, you would have seen this whole episode yesterday, which is kind of fucking nice. You're also supporting the team, the crew, and me in the endeavor of making these videos, making our animations and all that stuff. There's also behind the scenes goodies. We have pins. What else do we have? New clothing on there and stuff like that. A lot of shit's happening on patreon.com/valet. So stop right over there. I'm going to answer your question. I'm in New York. Boom. Show's done. I'm in Brooklyn right now with producer Chandler, producer extraordinaire. I was born here in Brooklyn, in Kings County Hospital, not too far away at some point. If I seem very low energy, the energy is going to increase once my subconscious realizes, oh, we're in the middle of the show right now. You should probably be making louder noises and getting more excited. I'll figure it out. But the first thing we're going to do is what we always done. What we have done since the beginning of time, boys and girls and friends. We're going to do our minute-long meditation, which also might be you just stopping and looking around. It might be, it's whatever you want it to be. And at some point, I'll figure out how to consistently say what the fuck I mean by meditation. Doesn't matter. For 1 minute, whatever it is you're doing, if you're walking around listening to this at school, your mom's yelling at you, whatever, just tell it, shh, I'm listening, I'm watching DSC, dog. 1 minute, don't do nothing, starting now. Welcome back to the land of the living, my friend. You've been gone for quite some time. This house was making noises just now. There were noises in the pipes. I heard some creaking going on. This place is haunted. This Airbnb is haunted that we're in. So I'm going to talk about some of the haunted elements that we've seen here. We just watched a video online of this dude who was describing some alien encounters. And at first I was laughing at him. I was laughing at him a bunch. It was a Vice video. And then he started he was being hypnotized by this therapist and he was talking about his encounter. And at some point it got really sad and he was tearing up. He was tearing up. And I think he might have been molested or something when he was a kid. And I was like, oh, this got really not funny really fast. And I felt bad. So that was the first haunted thing that happened. What else? All right, the pipes. The pipes are creaking and shit. I saw a ghost last night while I was sleeping. She crawled in my bed, whispered into my ear. This is what happens when you have no content. This is what happens when you pull me out of my nap and say, "Hey, let's record a podcast." This is what you end up with. This is what the people want. This is what you. To everyone listening to this, before we go back to the realm of the living and outside of the chaos realm, I wanted to thank Lealani once again for being a guest. And I'm telling you right now that I have listened to the album, and at this point, it's incredible. It's amazing. Not even gonna lie. It's beautiful, stranger even than I thought it would be. But I mean, there's some bangers on here. There's some bangers on this damn album. Leilani went in. In particular, I love Floating, Gallant Bloom, Long Stroll, Slip Slaughtered, Minuscule, bangers on this, and just real stuff where you'll be scratching your head, but also be bobbing your head at the same time, and moving your head and dancing on your head. You'll be flipping upside down. You'll be sticking your thumb out of your damn window, hoping that an alien will fucking take you into their spaceship. Leilani, thank you for making this album. I implore you all to just check it out. Check out Fantastic Planet. It's out right now on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your damn music. Lealani, Fantastic Planet, fantastic. It is I, Chaos Dom, in the Chaos Realm, which is actually just a building that we're inside of. It's dilapidated right now. We're working on it. But we have a guest today who's going to be creating a space inside of this realm. Guest, please introduce yourself to the world.
Hello, Earthlings. My name is Lealani, and I'm the alien from Planet Fantastic. Thank you so much to Dom for having me on here. It's an honor to be here.
You're one of my favorite aliens, Leilani. It's great to be talking to an alien right now. I think you're the first official alien that we've had in the Chaos Realm.
Really? No way.
Yeah, you're the first official alien here.
But you're an alien too, aren't you?
I mean, yeah, sort of. I'm more of a spirit. I think I'm more of a spirit, more of like a interdimensional like idea.
Oh, okay.
You know?
That's really cool.
Okay, so Leilani, alien person from Fantastic Planet, from Planet Fantastic specifically. We're not in physical space right now. We're in digital space, just floating around in the digital waves.
True.
Right now we're inside of this giant warehouse that I've created, and I have my guests create a room, but I'd like to do something specific with you.
Okay.
Fantastic Planet, the single, it's out right the fuck now. I've not listened to the whole thing because I'm living in the past, unfortunately, but it's out right now, and we're going to be talking about Fantastic Planet a lot, as much as we can, but I'd like to make a physical space out of the song Floating, the first song.
Okay.
Can we do that? What's the space?
Floating is basically, the space is infinite space. It's just like the whole universe, because the universe is just infinitely expanding. And my idea with this song was that it's just like, I just imagined myself floating in an infinite space. So there's not really any like secluded space for this song at all. It's just out there. It's just expand. I don't know how to describe it. It's just, yeah.
So there'd be no way to contain
No,
it.
there's no way to contain that song at all. Like floating is just, it's everything. It's infinite.
What's interesting about that is that the song is very short, and I'm a fan of short songs. It's 2 minutes and 39 seconds long. So in its ideal form, would Floating just be on loop, like forever?
Yes, totally. There's no end to it at all. Just like forever floating. We're just floating.
You know, I read about are you a Flaming Lips fan?
No. I've heard of their music, but I have not listened to a lot of their music, unfortunately.
Okay, yeah, there's some cool stuff I think you'd like. I think you'd like Yoshimi Battles of Pink Robots. I'll send you a track from
Okay,
that.
yeah.
But I read about the Flaming Lips doing something crazy where they made an album that was like 24 hours long and put it inside of like this crystal skull, and there was only like one version of it that you could get, but the idea was to make an album that would only live inside of someone's mind or something like that.
Wow, that's crazy. I've never heard of that idea. I'm gonna have to look that up for sure.
It's really bizarre, but like okay, so what does Fantastic Planet look like in its ideal audio form? Where is the perfect place to listen to it? What is the perfect setting?
The perfect setting? So you're not talking about like platform, right? Like you're not talking about Spotify or SoundCloud.
No,
okay,
no, that's
okay.
No, I mean on a spaceship getting shot at by cops.
So like you're
Neptune,
listening to
like,
the album and then you're like trying to figure out where to listen to it, or like what are we imagining when we listen to it, type of thing.
Yeah, more like sort of like, okay, if Floating is like an infinite song, right? It's like, if I understand correctly, Floating is you trying to condense trying to condense the idea of infinity and you existing in infinity into 2 minutes and 39 seconds,
Yeah.
right? So if you could put this album in like any time zone, any sort of dimension, any sort of like what is the ideal form of it? Like, is it okay? I'll say this. To me, it seems like you'd be listening to it on Planet Fantastic. Like, does that? It seems to be like the ideal place.
Yeah,
right?
Okay. Now I understand what you're trying to say, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, basically, I feel like listening to the album from start to finish, I feel like it's kind of just like I wanted it to be this journey going to Fantastic Planet and also the journey just being there and like landing on Fantastic Planet. So I'm hoping that when my audience listens to this album, they like see themselves in a different world or they see themselves going through this journey, because it is an album of like me like figuring out that I'm an alien from Fantastic Planet pretty much in my journey, getting there and finding out more about myself, because these are songs that I've written from like ages 12 to 18 and I'm 19 right now, so it's definitely been a very long journey for Fantastic Planet. Yeah.
So what was the first song from this album that you wrote? Like, what was the song that you created when you were 12?
Broken, which is the 4th track on the album. And yeah, because I originally wanted there to be 25 tracks on the album, but when I sent it, yeah, so I have a lot of content basically, but when I sent it over, we just chose the songs that felt right, just to like convey that idea of Fantastic Planet the best and to show like a variety of genres on the album and a variety of songs. But yeah, the first song that I wrote on there is Broken, and it's just a very intense song of me just like being angry and mad. Yeah. You'll hear it when it comes out, definitely.
Absolutely. Did you have was there a Rick Rubin type figure for you? Like was there a producer that helped you slice down some of the fat in terms of not saying that the songs that weren't on here are somehow fat or sort of unneeded, but like to convey the specific ideas to really tighten this down? Who helped you with that? Or was it a process of you just being alone and thinking about it, like the editing, the curation process?
Oh yeah. Like? So you're talking about the process of choosing which songs to go on the album? Yeah.
Right, because you had to let a bunch go. I mean, there's only 14 here. So.
Yeah, so Wiley Cable, he's the head of Dome of Doom Records, and I'm working with him. And yeah, he helped me choose which songs would be best for Fantastic Planet. And I wasn't completely sure which tracks I wanted for sure when I sent the 25 tracks. But he definitely helped me choose which songs represented Fantastic Planet the most in the shortest way possible, because a lot of the songs were there was a lot of music that I sent him for sure.
The album cover is beautiful. Like,
Thank you.
What was the process of? Did you design all of it? Because I know you're an art student.
Yeah.
So like, what was?
Yeah. So it started with.
Is this you?
No, I worked with the Sick Game to do that, but before all of that, in college, I was in this 3D class, and we had to make like some type of mask or some type of clothing or something to wear to like perform with. So I decided to make a bird head that could like manipulate your voice because of the beak. So like I made it a bird because the beak could manipulate your voice and make it more echoey, I guess. And I said that I wanted to use it in like my performances and stuff. So I made that bird head in my 3D class, and then after that I just started making weird videos with that bird head on. And then when it came time for me to come up with the album cover of Fantastic Planet, I just decided, like, you know what? I feel like I need to put this bird head in there because I really like the idea of birds and how free they are, and like that's pretty much what an alien is to me. An alien from Fantastic Planet, just like being yourself and being this free creature that, you know, it's not necessarily a bird, but I don't know what kind of animal it is, because like it's just really weird and I really like it. So I decided to work with Sick Game, who is a vintage clothing company that's based in Pomona. So I just ended up working with them to take the photos, and then they helped me choose the dress. And then it just all pretty much came together at the photo shoot. Like I didn't even, because my first idea wasn't even how the album art cover looks like. My first idea was much more complicated. I wanted there to be a bunch of plants and like I wanted it to be this fantastic planet, but it unfortunately like didn't fit our budget. So yeah, so we went with a more simple approach, and I didn't even expect it to like have the flower vase or any of that in the album cover, but there just happened to be like Dollar Tree flowers on the floor, and then we were just like, you know what, we should put the flowers on the bird. So yeah, it kind of just came together like gradually in one day. But yeah, because we've been planning for like a more complicated album art cover, but we went with the more simple one.
I think that's a lot of artistic processes involve the grand idea in the beginning. It's always very, very large. It's always larger than
Definitely.
you expect it to be. It's always massive. Like you said, it's 25 tracks. It's always 30 tracks. You see with a lot of musicians where they start with this massive idea, and I mean, either they do it themselves or someone else helps them slice it all down. Like I've gone through it a lot, and I've been honestly, I've burned myself out on a lot of projects by having way too much of a scope, just thinking that something was going to be something much larger than it needed to be.
Oh yeah, definitely,
which
definitely.
It's a pitfall.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
How do you, I mean, is it ever difficult for you to let go? Like, did you fight on any of the tracks that you wanted to keep on?
Yeah, definitely. Like Slip Slaughtered, we were kind of just like, Slip Slaughtered is kind of experimental, and then Gallant Bloom, the instrumental that's on the album, we weren't sure if we wanted to include that on the album either, but I was like, I need those tracks on the album. And then there was a lot more tracks that I only play live, like on my live shows, that I wanted to be on the album, but those tracks, some of those tracks didn't make it either. And then sorry. And then I was just considering like what would sound best. So we made an agreement, and like we kind of just collaborated on what we wanted on the album. But there were definitely some songs that I felt like I'll listen to the album now, and I listen to the album like pretty much every day, and I'll kind of regret that I didn't include one or two songs, but it's fine. It is what it is, and it's meant to be however it is.
You know, I feel like such a schmuck having only listened to one track that I really like, by
Thank
the way.
you.
What I will do is after, I love it, but what I will do is after this interview, I'll have some kind of commentary for like 2 minutes on what I thought about this album. Because like at this point, once again, as you all are listening to this, you can listen to this album right now on goddamn Spotify. You should be listening to this album while you're listening to us, or afterwards, whatever you fucking like. So I really wish I could have gone to this release show you have too, which is it's so exciting, this lineup you got.
Oh yeah, I'm so
You got Stevie Weeby on
definitely.
this show.
I'm so happy he said yes to perform. It's gonna be so cool. Yeah.
I mean, he's another alien guy.
Definitely. He's like the biggest alien ever.
So what are your favorite fictional aliens then?
Fictional aliens, definitely the aliens from Fantastic Planet the movie, La Planète Sauvage, just because like my whole life is pretty much revolved around that name now. But I don't know if I should call them aliens though, because they're described as like large giant humanoids, I guess.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I did not realize. I thought you created Fantastic Planet.
What?
I didn't realize it.
Oh my god!
I
that's
didn't
funny.
know. I've seen this. I've seen like half of this film, and it's so creepy, aren't they? The blue people, didn't they eat humans?
Yeah, they like punish the humans, and then they use them as like pets and animals, and it's really weird. But I don't know. I don't know if they're actually aliens. I don't know, because if you look at the description of the movie, they're actually described as humanoids. But I think they're aliens. We could go with aliens. Yeah.
Okay, what are your thoughts on xenomorphs from the Alien movies?
Xenomorphs?
Yeah. You know, the big head, like, Ridley Scott aliens. You know what I'm talking about, right? The alien from the Alien movie.
No, I actually don't know what you're talking about.
You've never seen Alien?
No, I don't
Leilani,
think I
come
have.
on.
No. This is the thing about me. I'm like really uncultured secretly. I'm a very, very uncultured swine, and I don't watch a lot of movies. I don't watch a lot of TV. And I don't know what you're talking about at all. This is all like alien language right now.
So your thing is, it's music then. If like that's the thing that you consume the most culturally.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah, it's mostly just music, and I don't know. I don't really watch a lot of TV. I didn't grow up with cable or anything. And I'm a very introverted person. I don't like to go out much at all. Actually, you'll never see me outside, probably. Yeah.
And you're just comfortable staying inside?
Definitely. Like, I'm the type of person that you could just lock me in a room for probably years, and I would not be sad at all. I'd be the happiest person alive, even if you locked me in a room for years.
Then you'd be a good contestant for, like, this... There's a Japanese game show. I don't know if you ever heard of this, but it's insane. They basically put you in an apartment and lock you in there. You cannot leave. They put like 4 or 5 cameras around the whole apartment, and you have no couch, you have no furniture, no bed or anything, and you have to anything you get in the apartment is gained from coupons and sweepstakes. So you spend your whole day just clipping coupons and looking for sweepstakes or giveaways or prizes that you win. And so these people will be trapped inside of this apartment, and I think they get like soup or something for their meal, but they get like all the ramen, they get the food, whatever is all mailed to them.
Oh my God.
So whenever they win prizes, they flip their shit, because it's like they can't even interact with, I think they're allowed to go on the internet maybe, but like it's somehow like their human interaction is very limited. They're not allowed to interact with humans, but they they get stuff from the mail. It's very bizarre.
Oh wow. I don't know if I could do that. That's completely different. Okay. But yeah, that sounds really intense. I don't know. Yeah, like I would need a room to like, you can lock me in a room, but I don't know if I would want to like struggle to survive for like food and stuff like that. That would be a little bit too much.
Like a base level. I think they get a base level of like boring ass food, but if they want exciting food, they have to send out for whatever other kind of food they get. But here's the last thing I'll say about this. It's sad, but also really, really hilarious at the same time. So one of the guys, they had a controversy because he thought I think he won tickets to get a flight to go back home, and it also like it coincided with the last day of him being in the apartment. So he gets these plane tickets, and he's so excited he gets to leave the apartment finally. And I think he was in there for like a year.
Wow, my God!
And he gets on he gets on the plane, and the ratings were so high on this show that they basically put him on a plane, and it went to China instead. And he ended up getting.
Oh my God!
I think they put him. It's so stupid, and I hate laughing at this dude's misery.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
Did he get home eventually, or?
No, some say he's still in China to this day. I'm kidding. I'm sure he went. I'm sure he's fine. He's not trapped in China somewhere. He's completely fine.
Okay, that's good. Good for him then.
So, are you a vinyl person?
Yeah. Well, it's more of my dad. He's the one that collects vinyls, and then I'll just look at the vinyls or look through the vinyls that he buys. Most of the music that I listen to is actually the music that my dad listens to, just because we share the same iTunes library, and also all the vinyl that basically he tells me that his stuff is my stuff. So I'll just go through his vinyl, and we actually do spend a lot of time together. Like, we'll go shopping for vinyl too together, if anything. But yeah, it's mostly my dad's collection of vinyl. We share it, so yeah.
It's so great to have an influence like that in your life. I remember my brother turned me on to a lot of like weird art, because I mean there's stuff that's very typical. I mean, like Lady Gaga, you got the stuff you hear on the radio, but then you need someone in your life to introduce you to art that is kind of the avant-garde, sort of like strange, that doesn't get a lot of views and stuff like that. That is just offbeat. Like for instance, everyone remembers like being introduced to Bjork. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like, do you remember like your first like Bjork song where you were like, okay, I get this?
I don't remember. I think I was probably like in middle school, and that was when I was just starting to get into more music. And yeah, I think my dad probably did introduce me to Bjork. I don't remember because I just feel like I've just known her for so long for some reason. But yeah, definitely first hearing Bjork, I was definitely weirded out. I think the first time I saw Bjork was like one of her music videos where it was like the insides of her body or something that was like flying through space or something.
Oh, it's like
that.
fuzzy. It's like fuzzy
Yeah,
like toys
yeah,
or
like
something.
like really, really weird stuff. She's an alien. She's an alien that I look up to. Like Bjork is definitely an
for
alien.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, she's a really big inspiration too. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, she's one of these people, and I mean, I know we're joking about the alien thing, but not really, because she's just one of these people where, to be at her age, I think she might be pushing 60, but to still be making relevant, strange albums at her age is just, it's so impressive. And I remember, so she went through a divorce, and she made an album that was, I think, based on her getting on Tinder at like 50.
Oh wow.
She made music.
Oh.
Yeah, like
That's really funny.
I think it was her most recent album.
Wow.
But I mean, we should all like aspire to be that. Like I hope that I can like contain a portion of that.
Oh yeah, you definitely can. Yeah.
As I get older. I don't know. All I gotta do is put on a Bjork outfit and. Okay, so is this gonna be your first show debuting Fantastic Planet on the 19th?
Debuting like my first show playing songs from the album?
Yeah, or have you been trying them out in front of an audience?
Oh yeah,
before,
I've tried out some of the songs in front of an audience before, but I'll definitely be playing like some new stuff as well and just experimenting with how people react with it. Yeah.
So give me an example of like how do you change based on the audience?
How do I change my performances or the choice of songs?
Do you change the choice of song too, and based on the audience?
No. Well, I change it based on how I perform it in front of an audience. So it, in a way, it kind of does depend on the audience, but it's also like how I feel about performing it in front of people and how it goes with like the whole set and the whole vibe of everything. So that's when I'll like change it up. But every performance, I've just made this a goal now, but from now on, I want to make sure every performance I have is different and entertaining because, you know, people get bored of artists playing the same songs over and over again. So I want to try to change it up each time a little bit.
Okay. And I'm gonna guess that you would have some kind of like theatrical component to your performances. I mean, like outside of yourself, like are you interested at all in having actors, you know, act as aliens on stage?
Oh yeah,
from
definitely.
Fantastic Planet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like when I don't know when I'm gonna do that, but I'm hoping definitely like for future shows or like whenever I can plan this out perfectly. I definitely would like that. Like I want it to be like a whole, like if I could have a whole spaceship land in on my performance or something.
It destroys the ceiling.
Yeah, just like comes through the ceiling, and then I just come out of the spaceship, and then all these aliens come out. I don't know, like something crazy like that would be awesome for sure.
I remember when I went to see Kanye on his Yeezus tour, he had like a mountain. It was
he has some pretty crazy stage sets for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's all right. It is going to be very expensive to make a stage. I could just imagine your manager being like, "We don't have the budget for it." But I mean, you know, your projectors and animation, I think, is a good supplement for that sort of thing.
True. That would work.
And you animate as well. You draw.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say. I would like to call myself an animator, but I'm not exactly there yet. Like I've only been doing it for a year because I'm going to school for it, and I'm just really interested in animation. Like I feel like that's the highest level of art, film and animation. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
More so than music.
And well, music is in animation though. So it's like everything, you know what I mean? Yeah. And like to me storytelling is like that's the highest form of art. And if you can make people experience things in their own world, that's definitely something that's amazing to me.
I mean, I agree with you. I like when images move. I don't really like I mean, I love still images as well, but even the still imagery that I like moves in my head.
Yeah.
It's everything that I enjoy is moving. Even if it's, I don't know, a movie that's very slow or something, like I need to have movement. And I think it's also this also says a lot about our society, not our society, but the way we consume technology and media is very fast and it's very motion based. Like if you look at, I'm just like, whenever you're out and about, just look at how people consume things on their phone. Everything is moving up and down very fast, left to right, and that they're manipulating it. So I think, I think that's why animation's on the rise. I mean, animation's always been popular, but I think it's becoming even bigger.
Oh
now
yeah,
because
definitely.
Because of having to be on your phone and IG and all that
yeah,
stuff.
exactly. And also like that virtual reality type of stuff that's going on is pretty insane too. I feel like they're gonna up that level for sure, and then it'll just be more of like this whole entire world that people can join. But yeah, it's definitely, it's crazy.
I mean, what I would love to see is, I mean, this is something I'm scratching the surface of with Blue Cerberus and DSC, but I think I'm seeing whispers of it, or hearing it. I'm seeing the beginnings of artists really being able to go crazy with what an album is. Like for instance, did you listen to Astroworld, Travis Scott's last album?
Yeah.
His most recent. I thought it was amazing and also very alien-ish in its own way. But
oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that album is great.
yeah, you'll notice like that golden head. You know what I'm talking about, the golden head. That thing to me is like, it exemplifies him welcoming you inside of his brain, or that icon sort of representing the album. So I guess what I'm saying is like, I would imagine in like 20 years, you putting an album out, like let's say it's Fantastic Planet 4, like or something like that. I would imagine that Fantastic Planet 4 is like, it's almost like an interactive album where you can literally like double click the album and then you have a character who's inside of your album, and like everything is curated where they're walking around and they see aliens and the music plays when you want it to play, but it's all sort of animated.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a crazy idea, but yeah, I've thought about that, like considering virtual characters into the album and like making it this really big thing that people can just interact with. I just want to be able to make it more interactive in a sense. And I feel like in the future, they're definitely going to make albums like that, you know? Like, I know the Gorillaz, they're already doing this thing where it's like, they're putting out these music videos and they're also turning, like, I feel like Tootie and Noodles and basically the whole band of the Gorillaz, all of the characters they're just coming more and more to life as time goes on, and they're becoming more.
Yeah, and they're getting older.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's crazy. It's really cool how they're doing that.
And I can see you doing the same thing. I think you're in the same realm as them, and I can't wait to see what happens with you in your career and your aspirations. I hope you stay as weird as you are, and I hope you get weirder.
Thank you.
And yeah, all of your ideas are great, and I mean, I love the music you made for Future Late.
Oh
Show,
yeah,
that
was so fun doing that. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of that. And I really like the Future Late Show, like the whole idea of it, and just like the transitions and everybody that's a part of it. It's great, and like everybody that you're collaborating with and all of the artwork, it's good job.
Thank you. I mean, it's a Future Late Show season 1 is kind of a hot mess in terms of editing. Like, I wish I could have sliced down half of it.
Oh, really?
But the next season, yeah, it's such a like. That's the first time I ever made something like that. So I'm kind of. I felt really overwhelmed. Like, I feel overwhelmed now thinking about it, but it's done, and I think. But I mean, what always happens to me. And I wonder if this happens to you too. Like, you finish a huge project and you're like, I'm done. Oh my God, I can relax. And then like just a week or two later, you're like, I want to go back.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
definitely.
Like,
I know exactly.
do you
how
feel
that feels.
tired at all?
Wait, what?
Like, what is your energy level like post release of Fantastic? Well, I guess it hasn't been released yet because we're in the past. God damn it.
No, it's okay. I think I know how I'm gonna feel though. I'm gonna post release. I'm just gonna be really stressed out, like internally, like always. But I think I'm gonna be. It's been so long. I've been like sitting on the album because like everything was done like 8 months ago, pretty much, or like 7 months ago. So
okay.
I'm ready for it to come out. I'm just dying for it to come out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Thank you so much.
All right, Leilani, please tell people where they can find you.
Okay.
On the internet,
okay.
Or in space.
So I am at Veggie Burger with 2 R's at the end on Instagram. And then on Twitter, I'm Leilani's Beats. That's LealaniSbeats. And then you can also find me on SoundCloud at Leilani's Beats. And I have a YouTube that's just Leilani, I think. And then, what else? Yeah, Fantastic Planet should be on iTunes, Spotify, Bandcamp. You can also get the cassette on Dome of Doom's Bandcamp. That's domeofdoom.bandcamp.com. And yeah, I think that's all that I have to say.
Excellent. Fantastic.
Cool.
Leilani, thank you for inviting me into this giant void that is consuming the inside of this building right now. It's been fantastic.
No worries. Come anytime. And yeah,
right.
thanks for having me on here. This was really cool.
I think today what we should do is it should be a viewer question day. I want to clean up everything we have in the damn vault. I think I'm going to read off some of your answers from from my questions I gave to you guys, and I'm going to answer some questions. Did that last sentence I just said make any sense? Probably not.
No.
Okay. But what are we gonna start with? So everything on here, Chandler, is I can start with it's archived if I've read it before, right? So everything I can start with
You're on the email?
Yeah.
Yep, everything there you can read.
Okay. So before we get into this, if you have any questions or comments for me, ask@donrabin.com. You can ask me shit. You can send me shit. Let's get more creative questions, y'all. In terms of send me some drawings. Send me questions in the form of video, music, whatever. Now, from PE Lock, I got to start with this guy. This dude sent us so many fucking questions. I don't even know how to tackle it. And they're really good questions, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. I think I'm gonna try just one or two of these, and it's a lot. Okay, let me just blast through these. PE Lock asks, if the process of procreation is completely industrialized and accomplished in a factory setting so that sex is really relegated to pure pastime like playing checkers, In this situation where you just need a license and an online safety course, would you at any point go to one of these local dispensaries and buy a baby? No. When you create an animated work, this is the second question. Do you usually start with a narrative and create the imagery around that, or vice versa? This is a better question. When I create an animated work, do I usually work with a narrative or create the imagery around that? Yes, I don't work from visuals back. I always have an idea of what the character sounds like, where the character is, what the character's situation is. Yeah, usually I start out with a core strange idea, and then I just encase it with the visuals. You folks who are listening to this can't see it, but I'm making this gesture sort of like it's like a pearl in an oyster's mouth. And oysters don't have mouths, but it's like you just coat it, you just with whatever your visual ideas are. I'll give you an example. I'm working on it's a very soft idea right now of, I'll try to describe it for you, but this is where it's at right now. Keep in mind, there are no visual components to this. I had an idea recently of a person who's in an altercation that is very benign. Like, let's say you're in an argument with your brother about something. It's like, you know, why do you, like, you never take the trash out. This is one of your responsibilities. And your brother's like, no, man, I don't, like, it's not my responsibility, it's yours. Even though he's wrong, and you guys are going back and forth, maybe some other things are coming up from the past, and it becomes a shouting match, and your brother's an asshole. But I had this idea of, like, what if in that specific moment where you're having a confrontation with somebody, if you could, like, sort of pause your life and float outside of yourself and Google or Wiki what you need to say to get the best sort of most positive reaction or favorable outcome from that confrontation. So you would float out to this wiki space and just be like, what is going on with my brother? What should I say to him, or what should I avoid? Sort of like, I don't know if people say FAQ or FAQ. I say FAQ, like a walkthrough for a video game, except it's for your life. Like I said, it's a very soft idea, but I don't have any visuals for this. But right now I could tell you, maybe people are arguing, and then it slows down and it pauses and the camera pans up. That's the process. That's me showing you the process of how I come up with an animated idea thing. All right, so third question from PE Lock. Are infinity condoms? Shout out to episode 1 or 2, whenever I mention that. Shout out to Thanos. I'll read it in Thanos' voice. Are infinity condoms manufactured by gigantic dwarves or Malaysians? Are they reusable? They're manufactured by gigantic Malaysian dwarves. That's the answer. They are reusable. Not only are they reusable, but you can layer them, so you can just put a couple of them on. And unlike condoms in our world, actually no, I'm sorry. It's exactly like condoms in our world. The more of them you put on, the safer you are. I just want you guys to remember that. Yeah. PE Lock, thank you for the question.
I mean, when you think about it, that's like infinity times 3. So
yeah,
that's even more infinity, more protection. Than...
That's what you say in the commercial. You want to be protected even more. Here's an answer to a question before. I asked you in a previous episode, folks, if a piece of art ever hurt your feelings. We got a comment from Adrian, an email from Adrian that said, yes, the ending of the video game Danganronpa V3 hurt my feelings. It wasn't in a dramatic way, but it made me feel that it was supposed to make me feel the same despair that the characters in the game felt. That's a tough sentence to read. It made me feel a little depressed, and it stayed on my mind for days after finishing the game. It was to the point where I tried to rationalize and change the narrative it presented to make me feel better about the ending. God damn. That's when you play too many games, boy. Yeah, that's That's good art. That's when you know it's good. Question from Ryan Alec Hill, aka Hill from Downhill Media, aka Big Boy Steezy, aka Satanic Master of Cheeseburgers, aka the Crystal Sacrificer, aka this bit is going on way too long. Ryan Alec Hill asks, "Hi Dom, what was the first movie you ever saw that you were genuinely disappointed with when you were younger?" That's a funny question because it's sort of like it's inaugural. It's like a moment where I was first disappointed by a movie. I'm thinking back to the movies I watched in hindsight that I liked that were pretty bad. Movies like Homeward Bound, I loved when I was a kid, but now I'm like, damn, that shit sucked. It was terrible. Did I see Wild Wild West? I did not. I did not see that. But I think I would have been disappointed by that. You know what? I think I know what it is. It was the second Power Rangers movie. It was like I think they were in the jungle at some point. It's when the Power Rangers go to Vietnam to clean up the just clean up the mess over there to help the veterans. They went to Vietnam. They got beat up. They got turned into POWs. Can I make that joke? Am I gonna get in trouble? Yeah, they get locked up in an internment camp, and it turns into like Deer Hunter. No, but like there was a second Power Rangers movie that was just shitty. Speaking of war and things that are not shitty, shout out to Dan James. Dan James has been a valet, a DSC watcher for years. Seen him in and out of the comments, always like really good, poignant questions. Very well written. Come to find out he's an artist as well. But what I didn't know about Dan James is that let's get a pic up there and post, Arthur, if you could do that. It's a beautiful pic of Dan James. Zoom in on it. Zoom in on it again. All right, zoom in again. I want people to see the pixels on his face. I want to go really close, like closer than you should. Just keep going to the whole screen. And if you listeners don't see it, it's a really cute picture of Dan James, who's deployed in Afghanistan right now. Mm-hmm. I know it. I'm making it sound like it's a joke, but this is. I assure you, this is not a joke. And Dan James was in our Discord the other day. I haven't seen him in a year because I guess he must have been in basic training and the whole deployment process with the U.S. Army. And he's over there right now. And I guess when he's chatting with us, it's through the barracks. And he's posting his cool art in the Discord as well. Just wanted to shout out Dan James. And it was, it's very surreal to know that someone overseas is, in any capacity, is listening or watching any of my stuff. But to know that someone who is risking their life, I'm getting some feels thinking about that. I'm just very honored that Dan James will be spending his time with us in Valet World. He could be doing anything else. We'll be sending him out a care package and some sketches, maybe some hot Cheetos or something, unless it costs more than like $100 to send it out, in which case, Dan James, you're fucked. You ain't getting shit from me besides this. Okay, buddy? I'd like to see where you guys live too. Send me your address in explicit detail. No, I'd love to see, like, if you're from like an exotic, interesting place, meaning somewhere that's not on the East Coast of the U.S., just send me pictures of it. Like, I want to know if you live in Italy in like a pasta factory or something. Just let me know. I'm very curious about that sort of thing. You know what I'm saying? A little more about why we're here, and I think I have one or two more questions that are just sitting there in the bucket. We're here for a couple business things, a couple meetings with people that I've been wanting to work with for a while, and I've been meaning to hang out with, connect with, to building professional relationships and networking is like those are really disgusting terms, but it's necessary. Every big gig that I've gotten, the vast majority of them have been through personal connections with people. You know somebody who knows somebody, and the way it works is if somebody knows that I'm an animator, and like it just gets lodged in the back of their head, and it might not be tomorrow, it might not be next month or next year, but 3 years from now, potentially they're like, oh yeah, I work at HBO now and we need an animator and I like you and we're friends, or that they know that I deliver things on time and am proficient enough to accomplish a task. And you need to be proficient enough to accomplish a task, friendly, and deliver things on time. And I've heard that if you have two of those things, you're good. If you have all three, you're just golden. But you could meet someone right now, they're just like a janitor somewhere, and 5 years from now, they work at HBO, and they're like, oh yeah, you're the first animator I thought of, and all of a sudden you have a job at HBO, and that's how networking works. It's not always this very sterile, shitty way we've come to imagine it, or I've come to imagine it, specifically coming from a place like DC where it's so political, and networking there looks like everyone's wearing a suit. Everyone works in the nonprofit sector or for the federal government, which is shut down right now. Yeah, networking it's being social. And if you have any level of social ability, you should be connecting more with your community and trying to make those connections with people who are at different levels of skill and position, especially people who you might think might be lower status than you. You got to be nice to those people, and you got to interact with them, and not only because you never know what they're going to become, but just because it's the right thing to do. It's just good to be that way. So that's why I'm here. Also going to be hanging out with some friends, old and new. We're going to eat ramen, right, at some point, yeah. Chandler?
I'm thinking about 3 gallons.
3 gallons of ramen?
Yeah.
You're starting there? You're starting at that. Chandler has never eaten ramen, like official Japanese style ramen. Has never eaten Ethiopian food. Have you eaten any food that has originated from the African continent? That's a no. That's a no. That's a no. That's a no. Have you eaten at a soul food restaurant?
No.
Oh my fuck!
It's where I come from, honestly. If
I know.
If I had it, then I would. But
have you had a depressed black woman cook dinner for you before? An angry, anxiety-ridden black woman.
Probably at some point, but
probably
wasn't
like a lunch lady with a cigarette hanging out of her mouth. Hey, what you want, boy? What you want? We're gonna go back to the question box. Like I said, we had a bunch from PE Lock, and maybe I said that I was done with that before, but I'm not, because I'm scraping the barrel for time while I'm thinking of other shit to talk about. From PE Lock, are you ever in a social situation like a dinner party where you are so benumbed? Oh my fucking God. Can I shit on you for saying benumbed? That's a bad verb, man. Benumbed. Don't ever use that word on a date. Are you ever in a social situation like a dinner party where you are so benumbed by the... Is it banal or banal? How do you... banal conversation that you start imagining situations to amuse yourself? For example, a dinner guest suddenly explodes, sending blood and viscera all over everybody. and you are imagining the reaction. Yeah, that's me every day of my life. That's how I keep myself sane and interested in boring conversations. But what I will usually do is, and you'll probably see me do this in conversations, is it probably comes off as me being me giving people poignant questions or sort of leading a conversation into an area that is, I don't know how to fucking put this. All right, I'll put this in the most simple way possible. Me asking strange questions is a way of amusing myself most of the time. So I am interested in people's answers, but I get pleasure from the process of coming up with and asking a strange question. That feels good to me. Like the answer is like the icing on top. And I mean, when I'm really on, I'm listening for the answer and trying to actually interpret what the person is saying and just like sinking inside of it. But I like weird questions because it makes me think of weird stuff. And yeah, usually I'm imagining strange things. I mean, any assortment of things. Like I do that all the time. And that'll be my question for the day of you guys in the comments. How do you all entertain yourself in boring situations? I almost said quiztuations. That's how fucked up I am right now off this tea that I just drank and the shitty Belvita biscuits. I gotta show them this. Some ASMR for you. There's some people in the comments were talking about, Dom, you have an ASMR voice. There you go. Do you guys like that? How about this? I'm destroying Belvita biscuits on the... These things are not good, man. This is for old ladies. And I hate that on the package of these vanilla oat cookies, it says 4 hours of nutritious, steady energy. That's a fucking lie. It's not true. No. And plus, like, how do they know? Like, what if I'm fat, which I am? It's like it's not going to do that for me. How do they know it's 4 hours?
4 hours exactly, by the way.
Yeah. After the 4 hours, you just die. That's
so the 4 hours is actually how fast it takes the cyanide to process in your body.
That's the Belvita promise to you. You will die after eating our biscuits.
4 hours or less guaranteed.
4 hours of life. That's all you got. You want more? You want more time? You gotta get more biscuits. You gotta keep buying this shit, man.
That's the antidote and the disease.
That is fucking stupid. Shout out to our sponsor, Belvita, man. Have you ever seen Poison look so cute on packaging? We show that in the video. Shout out to you all who are listening to this on Spotify and iTunes, by the way. There aren't as many of you on there. You know, YouTube is like the go-to place because it's all visual and whatnot. But, I mean, it's good. You know, you want to... I'm going to go one day without mentioning funerals or death, by the way. It's going to happen. You know, you're hanging out in a damn cafe. A lot of you are students. This shit stuck to my teeth. I hope some of you are listening to this at church. If any of you have actually listened to this at church, please let me know. I'd be so fucking happy. Any sad Jehovah's Witness kids who are stuck on parking lot duty, like I was when I was younger, I want to hear from you. So what else are we doing while we're here? We're going to be at the MoMA?
Yep. We're going to find a Basquiat if it kills us.
Yeah.
We will break into the back vaults.
So, as they dragging me out, if we find a Basquiat, I got to do a video in front of it, right?
Yeah.
If I could do a 30-minute podcast in front of a Basquiat, that would be amazing.
Find out next episode.
Yeah. You gotta tune in, folks. What are we doing with time? Oh, we're coming up.
I would say like 5 more minutes.
I like that. I know this is usually the time when I do questions, but what else did I want to talk about? Oh yeah, don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes. You got to go on iTunes even if you don't have an iTunes account. You go in there, make an iTunes account, click 5 stars, say I'll know you're a real one if you go to the iTunes page and you say Thanos is my close friend and I trust him. Go ahead and post that in there for your boy. Thank you. So we're gonna go to the MoMA, eat ramen. That was one of our top goals. You know, Basquiat paintings are just going. They're not being used for anything besides viewing. They should be a backdrop for me. That was the purpose for Basquiat to make paintings. They exist for me to do podcasts in front of them. In a perfect world, I'd be sitting in a damn, not a mansion. I wouldn't care for a mansion. If in a perfect world, I'd be sitting here with who would my guest be? Who would be a perfect guest to have today? Basquiat?
Well, yeah, Basquiat's corpse next to Ronald Reagan's corpse.
Oh no! Get him out of there. Only one of those. Only one of those will be allowed. Basquiat would be that would be probably the single most greatest guest I could have on my show. Yeah, that'd be cool. So the closest I could get is, all right, there's a goal, is to do a podcast in front of a Basquiat, but not at a museum. So I'm talking, I have to get to know a rich person who owns it or owns access to it, and then just have them allow me to sit in front of it. Because what else, like these paintings aren't being used for anything. They just sit behind like these temperature controlled rooms behind glass. No one's doing jack shit with them. Like you go to the stupid Louvre and you see a Mona Lisa, which is like, it's like this big. I'm just holding my hand apart, like one length. It's super small. People are taking pictures of it behind glass, which I always thought was really dumb. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. It's the Belvita. I think it's kicking in, man. Tell my wife I love it. Oh my God. The Belvita. It's in my veins. Man. I just want to tell y'all. All right. What have we established today? Infinity condoms are made by Malaysians. I want to do a podcast in front of a Basquiat. I told you all how my animations are made. Send your questions to ask@domrabron.com. If you're annoyed by these questions being similar, give me a different one. I want to see more relationship questions from you guys. And I know I'm not a good person to ask these sorts of things, but you know, let's get a little more variation. Ask me questions about relationships. Creativity questions are really good as usual. Ask me whatever you like. Thank you. We're gonna tie this thing off. Chandler's giving me like the heaving sad sighs in the background, so I'm gonna taxi this thing off. Thank you guys. Don't forget, go on patreon.com/valet to sign up for the fucking thing. Donate a little bit of cashola to us, and you'll have access to a bunch of fucking stuff. Thank you. I'll see you in the next fucking episode. Fuck you.
Nice.
All right, we did it. For a second there, I was like, oh shit, I did each question.